Good evening. It's 10:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. By a clock that's 7 minutes fast. Out here next to the lighthouse in the super cool little minivan. The lighthouse quit last night at about, 1:30. Didn't make it till 2 o'clock in the morning. Boy, had like a few overcast days. So I don't know if it's like if it can get a full charge in one day, if like it needs to be shut off for a couple of days so that it can run all night again or what. Or if it's only designed to like get enough charge to run half the night. I don't know. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff we could talk about on the astral level tonight. I've been wanting to share it for a while. Again, because I took the video down and somebody asked about it and they were pretty bummed out that they couldn't refer to it. So yeah, there's y'all know about like something that happened and with some people that were all living on a ranch back in like the early 90s or some shit down south. And they could have got the guy, many a times, but they didn't do it like that. They decided to burn the people out. But anyway, y'all know the story. WA Co, right? And there's like entities, okay, on the Astralscape that y'all know that sometimes because I've been set aside, I don't have sex with humans. That's not by choice. It's just one of them things that it's what's happening. And so it's almost like I've been set aside as a conduit that my sexual energy during masturbation is used as like half in flesh and half on the Astralscape for interaction with spirits, and sometimes more than one spirit. Like, okay, this woman who got her husband to take her to this ranch where there was the incarnate Son of God, and she knew what would happen. Her husband got put on the work crew and she got took by the Son of God, like all the women do, the wives. And he used her for a while, and him and his personal assistant used her together. And then he assigned her to different tasks because she was pretty and stuff like that. He assigned her to different tasks because she was also in her sexual peak, where she would be best utilized. So like the bunkhouse of where there was like the majority of them were Mexican, they're warriors, the guards there, the dudes that were walking around on a ranch protecting the place, like ghosts. You couldn't really see them, but they were armed to the teeth. And that bunkhouse, she would be like a wife to all of them. And cameras were set up where the Son of God could watch, and they'd all like hammer her out throughout the night, those who worked the day shift, and sometimes he'd leave her there to handle the night shift too, because they'd be there during the day. And she just loved it that she had her legs open, her pussy was shaved and prepared for the Son of God when he was fucking her in her ass. And then she got assigned by him to use her sexuality to serve God, to give these entities good sexual experiences, because it was like a repeated request. And then sometimes the Son of God will call her back to like his place, his abode, and use her anally And just like, being awed, how different her pussy was, how it totally got destroyed from all the big brown cock getting shoved in it, repeatedly for hours at a time. It's like that was one of the power trips, and it was one of the things that like she really enjoyed it. So when there can like be a multiple convergence, she's like an entity that like I could share my body with, and then they take their turns on her, which it's on me, you see. And this is one of the things I'm never going to get to experience as my proper gender now because of what has happened on this planet. But yeah, that's something that's okay. It's interesting. I mean, if you can think about it, you imagine being her and all these dudes, you've been assigned by the Son of God to be a wife to all of them sexually, and they're all riding the shit out of you, taking turns all night long on you, and he's going to use you anally at some point within the next few days after you've handled both shifts for a while. So yeah, it's very lewd, some of the religious stuff, the carryover shit that's still on the Astralscape, like that, because of, well, how they were, how they came to their demise, you see. So it created that ripple where it's like it's there, and it's like it's right there on the line where for some reason to me it's very accessible. It's not something that's always something, you see what I'm saying? But it's once in a while. That's one of the visitations. It's a gang thing, and also it's just like the total memory, her memory, seeing the place, smelling the dudes, all that stuff, the feeling it. And you see, it's like it's very real, and it's like so then there's like the mentality, well, why would you want to trade that for mere sex with a human? Well, because there's the tenderness that you get from another living entity that you don't get from a spirit entity, you see, when you're touching someone else and they're touching you. So yeah, there's always the desire that someday I'll be able to engage in intimacy with a human again, but it's not something that I can make happen on my own. It takes another human to reciprocate, the desire or whatever. So yeah, and then there's another thing happening. I mean, you see why there's no dictators from, Chinese dictators from China in the next timeline. It's like, there's none of their government people there because they never made laws against animal cruelty. So it's like during the time loops and during stuff at the hands of freak monsters like that fan fucker who posts all them videos of him torturing cats, burning them alive, electrocuting them to death. He caught homeless cats and did horrible shit to them. And also the people who created the demand for it, it's like you made money doing this. They are in the time loops on the Astralscape right now, getting time looped as those cats too. So it's like, and then that shit gets undone. So it's like he never perpetuates it. There's never no freaks like that in China. They get better government. There's, laws against animal cruelty. There's no homeless cats because there's better people. There's no homeless animals in the next timeline because only the good entities, the graduates make it. Those who, they don't have proper empathy for animals here, they're feeling their social credit status. It's amazing. China created this thing and they're being judged by it right now. Mao failed his social credit status. He killed how many of his own people? It was like, in the tens of millions at least, you see. So it's like, you know, starved them, murdered them, raped them, fucked them, enslaved them, tortured them, you know. It's like, you know, he's in time loops, man. And then, you know, when he's finally endured all his time loops, he's going to get undone. He has to get time looped as slaves, too, though. Because, you know, his gain was ill-gotten gain. It's money that he took from his victims, you see. So people think they're like, oh, the you know, the one Holocaust perpetuated by, you know, the Germans, that was like the Holocaust. Well, that's not the only Holocaust that this planet has endured. This planet has endured some horrendous shit. There's Stalin. There's another fucker that I keep forgetting his name, but he's right there next to Stalin. You know, there's all these guys, man, that they got away. You know, Kissinger is like that. He has the mentality that, like, you know, soldiers should just, you know, have to be killed for, you know, the pleasure of people like him, for their benefit, whatever. That they're second-class citizens somehow compared to him and his bloodline, which, you know, that's a failed social thing right there, because the next timeline, he's not there, but the soldiers that he disregarded are there. And there's nobody to put them on a front line to die for any, you know, bullshit, you see. Because, well, ultimately, all of it was bullshit. Every time they were sent out there to do something, it was bullshit. But yeah, this is like going back to the woman. Her husband's older, and she knew what would happen because she had an acquaintance who told her about, you know, what was going on there. So she knew what would happen and convinced her husband to go there and regard him as, you know, an incarnate Christ. She saw it as an honor to be found desirable by him like that, instead of being one of the women that was, you know, put on like the workforce and shit. And she found it an honor to be able to, like, you know, get fucked until she was totally just different between her legs. You know, and then an honor to go back to his chambers and show him the physical damage and let him, you know, sodomize her and, you know, stuff like that. She was heavily into that, all of it, all the aspect of it, because she was going through her sexual peak and she saw it as like that was her service to God. You know, I'd rather talk about that than what we know is happening on the Astralscape with the cats, you know. Because some of y'all don't know what's happening with, like, you know, interspersing, you know, the intertwining, the entanglement, the quantum entanglement of, you know, from the Astralscape to certain entities, you know. And I know that at least two of you who view these videos are the same as me. You just don't know how to control it or to dial into certain shit. So it's like when you do fuck up and you have one of those experiences, it's like scary, like taking a roller coaster ride you didn't realize you were going to take, and you don't know if you're going to make it back. And you have the physical symptoms in response to it, which could be, you know, you could even have a heart attack, man. You could scare yourself to death. So yeah, there's all that. You find yourself stumbling later because gave yourself you know, some kind of lack of blood flow or oxygen to your brain, you know, weird shit like that. There's like side effects to all this shit. But yeah, that entity died in a fire. So did her husband. An unnecessary fire. It was all for show. A power flex. Some of y'all were born right around when this happened. All right, be blessed if you can be, and be a blessing. I know you can do that.